Welcome to the official Bathtub Refinishing podcast, powered by BathTubGuys Refinishing. This is where we discuss the refinishing industry, interview owners and operators, and give tips to customers and entrepreneurs. Now, here's your host, Daniel Montalvo.
Hello. My microphone was off there for a second. All right, so we're just picking up where we left off. This is going to be like the second part of the podcast. And so we discussed Puerto Rico in the last one. If you haven't seen or heard that one, you can go back and listen. So we're talking about the Puerto Rico project, how things went and stuff like that. But now we're just going to kind of talk about the industry and stuff. And I'm going to start off with that story that I kind of left everybody hanging on.
Yeah.
So last week I got a call from this guy, and he's like sending me pictures. He's like, well, I had this other company do a tub and it looks hideous and it's like shitty. And he's sending me a picture and there's like little like pinholes on the tub. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
So he was like, well, the tub is brand new. Like they installed it a year ago and there was like one or two of them and they got it refinished. And now it's like all over the place. And I'm like, well, I know it's a new tub. You're not going to like to hear this, but it's rusting. That type of pinholing, when it starts to spread, it's because it's rusting underneath. Yeah. And that's happens for one or two reasons. Either there's some sort of like grout issue, the water's going underneath, or the drain or overflow might not be secured correctly. And if there's like no plumber's putty under like the drain, it might happen. Or it might be a factory defect, which happens. Like we were just talking about, they ship these things over here. They come from the factory, but sometimes when they're building a house, they're sitting outside in the Florida freaking humidity or rain. And if they don't dry those things off correctly or clean them off correctly, that stuff will start to rust. And he wasn't having it, bro. He started cursing me out, saying that I was retarded, that I couldn't fucking read. Because I sent him an article of other people that had this issue, and I was like, I know what it is. He was like, no, you're fucking lying, all this shit. But the thing that found me, dude, and I started dying, was like, you, the plumber, and the builder all keep saying it's fucking rust, and it's not rust. I installed tubs for 20 years. That's not rust. And I'm like, bro.
So then why don't you know what to do about it?
Literally. Well, not even just that, bro. Like, why would 3 or 4 people who are completely unassociated say the same thing? Yeah. That does not make sense. So he was just.
I'm surprised you even kept the conversation going.
Yeah. Well, I was just trying to be helpful, man. Yeah. Like there comes a point where like it's not even just about the money. Like I knew he wasn't going to do it, but I was trying to steer him in the right direction. Yeah. Like I was trying to tell him like, look, because I think he was under the impression that I was trying to upsell him like a replacement. And I was like, I don't even replace tubs. Like he was in the middle of yelling at me. I'm like, I don't replace tubs. I'm not trying to upsell you. He calmed down a little bit. And I was like, I don't want you to go to another company and have them lie to you and say, we're going to fix it. And then in a year, be back in the same thing. Yeah. Be back in the same predicament. Because that would be stupid. You'd just be throwing more money at something that is not fixable, really. Patching it up. Yes. Yeah. The only other thing you could do is probably do like a liquid tub liner or like Ecopel, one of those pour-on stuff that's super thick. Like those things are like a ½ inch thick. Yeah. Something like that it wouldn't happen, But you got to find somebody who installs those things, and there's not a lot of them.
Did I tell you about the time where I pushed my finger into a rough spot and my finger just went straight through the fucking floor of the tub? And I called the owner and I was like, look, we can make this disappear, but this is fucked. I was like, you can't even step in here. Luckily, she was like, no one uses this bathroom. I just wanted to look nice. I was like, okay, but don't let anyone forget because their toe will go through the hole.
Yeah, no. And we've done tubs like that, too. Normally, the best you can do when it's like an open hole like that is use foam or something to reinforce it. You got to take that?
Yeah, it's Angel.
All right, that's fine.
I was texting.
So, yeah, one of the ways to best fix it is to just shoot foam under it, Bondo it. If you really want it really reinforced, when you have something really deep, it's not going to look pretty. It'll look good, but it's not going to look perfect. Would be to foam it, Bondo glass it, and then do fiberglass resin with a cloth. Yeah. And that shit will not move.
Yeah, that's what I did.
It'll be wavy.
I do that for the fiberglass inserts that flex. Once they lose that support. they get water damage. The wood gets soft underneath. But this one, she didn't even want all that. You know, she just wanted it to look nice, so we did that. But the fiberglass cloths, those are lifesavers, man.
Yeah, those things
are. The resin takes a while to cure, though.
Yeah, it does take a minute.
Yeah.
That stuff is also really messy. It's just if it's an extra thing you can do to reinforce it. Mm-hmm. But typically, if we sometimes use the cloth with just Bondo glass and then a finishing Bondo over it, and that also works.
Okay.
But I don't like to leave the Bondo glass as like the last layer unless it's a chip. Yeah. If it's a big piece, that stuff like it leaves a lot of craters because of the fibers. Yeah. So you got to kind of fill it in after. But yeah, I mean, this guy, he wasn't having it. He was so pissy and like, I got annoyed with it. But yeah, like I said, it wasn't even the money.
They get under your skin sometimes.
Yeah, I just like, when you see somebody about to do something really stupid.
Yeah.
And like, just listen to me and you'll avoid the stupidity.
Yeah.
Like, he thinks that like me and these other two guys I've never met in my whole life are all just
plotting against him.
We're part of the fucking Illuminati of tubs and shit.
Or just if he installs bathtubs, I mean, he should know.
Well, yeah, but also he knows probably that entails like ripping out, the tubs, the tile and all that.
And that
stuff.
goes back to what I was saying about people think this is like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
You do this, and then a few years later, you have us come back and we bring it to life again.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be just one time. This lasts for the rest of your life. This is like you maintain this now. Yep. You clean it correctly. You call us, and you want a fresh new coat on top. We'll come. We'll sand it down and apply a new top coat, and it'll look like new again within hours. 5 years from now.
Have you seen these adhesion tests that people do online? I'm gonna send you one. There's somebody who tested this polyester primer. It's not an epoxy primer, and he says that it adheres like a lot better than what we use.
Really?
Yeah. Like, there's a big difference.
I've been seeing a lot of the Cognate coatings. Cogent coatings. Yeah, the wipe on primer and all that.
Everyone has wipe on primer now. Because you can get it from Midwest. Top Coat has Crosslink 3, which is the same stuff, this silane based. Yeah. And then Hawks is the one that has the polyester one, from what I've heard. The thing about this that like kind of surprised me though is that regardless of which kind of like resin primer was used, every single adhesion test tested better with just Top Coat and wipe on primer. Like the adhesion was like very noticeably different. And the only thing I could think of is that those saline things just bond like super tightly.
Yeah.
Because I was reading or I was listening to this gentleman talk about it, and he was saying that like the resins for the top coat aren't actually by default fully compatible with epoxy primer because they're not. We don't use an epoxy top coat. We use a polyurethane, and that would actually work better with a saline one or a polyester one that even tights like it bonds tighter. But yeah, it was really interesting. I'm always looking at like what's going on with the coatings and stuff. In this video, you can see him like run a blade to it, and like it's just not budging at all. When he did basically the Midwest stuff, I think he even says he was using Midwest primer. He was using the aerospace, the top coat, and acid etch. That's like industry standard, right? Yeah. It came up. Now it wasn't super easy, but some medium strength with a razor was getting it up. This other shit, the blade was just like jumping off of it.
Is it wipe on or is it spray on?
It was a wipe on. But you can spray it on too. Apparently, you just gotta like kind of mist the gun, and they say that it's like what you call it. It is sprayable or wipe on the saline one. Same thing with the new tech that I got that one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just really interesting. Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I want to be doing the best thing, but also I'm kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I mean, my only thing about the white, I haven't tried it yet, so this is coming from perspective of ignorance, but texture, I mean, you can't beat spraying. when it comes to the finish. I mean, I don't know. I have to try it myself. It seems like a lot of people are using them.
Since
on Instagram, I see people wiping on primer.
Top Coat is the biggest manufacturer of bathtub coatings, and they completely eliminated their epoxy primer. They only use wipe-on primer now. And I think that might be the way, bro. Honestly, well,
that's one less thing to worry about. I mean, you just have to wipe it on.
Yeah, that technology's existed for a minute in like car industries, the saline ones, and it supposedly just bonds a lot tighter to it. It's more compatible with what we typically use for top coat. They do say, however, like if you're going to be using like if you're trying to really eat the color up, you might want to use like an epoxy or a polyester, like actual resin.
True. You may have more bleed through. You'll have to use more top coat product.
But what I saw was Top Coat tints their wipe-on primer, and they could tint it to white so that it'll eat through it a little easier too. So I mean, if you want to spray it on,
yeah,
I've used wipe-on primer before, and honestly, it doesn't leave as much residue as you would think. I was surprised because that was my concern too, but I just used the blue shop towels to apply it, and it doesn't leave much residue, and you can tack it too.
How long does it take to dry?
So like it's you could tack it in about 5 minutes, and then you can spray 10 minutes after that.
Okay.
So about 15. It's literally about the same. And when we used it at Cabana Bay, we would just have the prep guys like just put it on.
Yeah.
And then behind them just start tacking, and then they're ready to spray by that time.
So what you got going on new? Any new big ones or?
Not anything huge. We're just right now we're doing a lot of maintenance for the hotels that we have in the area. So there's like typically with commercial you'll see, so there's projects and then there's like maintenance.
Yeah.
And they'll keep you and they'll call you in a couple times a week. It's nice because it kind of keeps you busy, but you're not, married to like this super strict schedule.
Yeah.
So I have Leaky Tiki calling us. They called us on Friday. We went over and we did like 7 or 8, but they had like 15 more that they wanted to do. Now, mind you, we've done the tubs at Leaky Tiki completely 3 times already, like over the span of like 8 years.
And so they just keep calling back to get refreshed.
Yeah, because
that's go back to what I'm saying.
Look, they know, and they've told me, our housekeeping staff is not going to listen to your cleaning instructions. They're going to destroy them. We just fit into the budget that we're going to refinish the tubs every so often. Yeah. And the ones that get really bad, we'll just have you guys come fix them.
Which, could be a technique we use to communicate with the hotels. That if you have antimicrobial standards that you have to clean with certain products, then just consider this as a routine maintenance. Yeah. That if you're going to ruin your finish by disinfecting it, because of the acidic chemicals and properties that they use with these cleaners.
I mean, it's just like
we'll just come back and make it shiny again for you one day.
It's just like what they do with their like wood furniture too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting into with Sheraton.
Yeah,
wood furniture, refinishing wood furniture, which great shop work. We worked it out where we're not going to be spraying on site at all. That's good though. Yep.
They will probably like that just for the optics.
Well, it's going back to what we talked about Puerto Rico. I talked to the GC. I explained to him, kind of our workflow we had over there and the issues we had. And we came to the conclusion that they're just going to remove all the furniture, all of the pieces, and we're going to take them to our shop. And now their crews can operate freely. No inherent risk with overspray.
Have you mentioned to them your other stuff that you do?
Yep.
And are they interested at all?
They are. So right now, I'm working on that one. I sent them a quick estimate for a single bathtub refinish. And then because I guess it's coming up in the budget in a couple years, and they were thinking about replacing every single cast iron tub. Yeah, and I was like, first off, don't do that.
Cast iron
call
is
me.
I was
like, we'll produce 15 of these a day easily, and we can also meet your non-slip standards. Thanks to my boy Daniel.
If you want, I come do the test for you. I have it.
You already know, man. You already know I'm gonna be over here.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I've been listening to what you said. I've been implementing it, and if you're listening to these podcasts, listen to what the hell we're saying. And implement it because it works. Don't be scared. There's a lot of different ways you can go about getting these leads and closing them. And confidence is key. If you look scared, they're going to be scared.
Yeah. No, and like it's like when I talk about Cabana Bay, like that. Like when I went in there, it's hard to convince people that somebody in their fucking early 20s is going to be able to handle something like this. But I did. Yeah. And we did for the most part. There's hiccups. There's always hiccups. But
that's part of handling it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, and you know, hiccups are in any construction industry.
Yep.
You're going to have issues, and that's expected. Most general contractors expect issues, and it's our job as professionals to expect them and then incorporate that. You know?
One of the most important things about that, now that you're getting more into the commercial stuff yourself, is to make sure that the biggest guy, because this is how it is, man. They always hand off the power to somebody else. You saw it happen in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Jay, he handed it off to Juan.
Yeah.
All right, and Juan relays it over to me. He has his own assistant, but he's kind of the middleman.
Yeah.
Don't ever go to the highest tier guy with little issues.
Yeah.
Only when it's absolutely necessary. Because those people, they chose you to handle it, just like you said.
They don't want to have to figure your problems out.
Exactly. And that's what sometimes that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you make it to where they don't hear about the little tiny issues and at the end everything looks perfect, in their eyes everything went perfect.
Yeah.
And they tell that to their boys.
Yep.
Their friends.
And that's how I went about this project. Is there was all these different things that they needed accommodated and this and that, and I was like, look, just tell me what you need and we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it.
That's how you
We'll figure it out. That's why you're paying me.
Yep.
So it works.
And that's awesome, man, that you got, like, I would, if I were you, I would just tell them, like, hey, whenever you get a chance, let me do a demo of one of your tubs.
Yeah, you're right. I should propose that.
And just let them see what it's like.
Yeah.
Do the best job possible.
Oh, well, that's all we do. You know that.
And if for whatever reason something stupid happens, you let them know. I'm not happy with it. Let me fix it.
Yeah.
Like, let them know about it and be like, I know I told you I was going to give you this back, but I got to fix it. I don't like it.
Also, for, you know, the refinishers listening, these commercial projects, don't be scared on your first one to take newbies with you.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how you elevate them extremely quickly. The repetitive movements, the repetitive techniques they're going to get on these jobs with such volume are going to elevate them much quicker as refinishers than you could ever do residential.
Well, yeah, it lets them know that you have confidence in them.
Yep.
And also, sometimes people hear about what we do, refinishing, even, you know, you do like the cabinet stuff and they think like, oh, is that really like a thing, you know? And it's such a niche market, but when they see like the types of hotels that are willing to get this done and get it done all the time,
Yeah.
it legitimizes you too.
Yeah.
So
and you know, these hotels are looking for efficient ways to save money, not ways to throw away money. So if the hotels are incorporating this into their budget for renovations, then it works, and it is high quality. But you know, you can't expect new when you're not paying for new. You're paying for making existing better.
Exactly. That's the mindset you got to have. And I've heard from all too many people, I don't like working with commercial because they don't want to pay. And it's like, you're selling yourself too short, or you're not giving them a reason to pay more.
And you know, if you're dealing with small commercial vendors, such as like motels with 30 units here and there, the motel themselves doesn't have that many funds. But when you're dealing with these high-end corporate, you know, commercial projects where funds necessarily aren't an issue, but there's just a budget and what they're willing to spend. But if you come with the right information, the right confidence, and you can validate your pricing and why, and they know.
Here's the outline to follow, basically, is like, you got to feel them out.
Yeah.
You got to find out if they're a good fit for you, really, because that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And if you call a shitty motel and the budget is nowhere in the stratosphere, you could do one of two things. I would take the other route, but I'll tell you what two things you can do. You can try to work within their budget and set the expectations of the quality that they're going to get for that money.
Yep.
And do it knowing you're not doing the best job possible, or you can walk away and explore other opportunities.
And just figure out what your company's direction is. If you want to be high end and work on like higher end projects, which comes with a level of stress. Yep. Don't underestimate what we're saying either. You know, when you do go to the Hyatt in Puerto Rico, which is a 4-star hotel, they are going to expect that their 4-star residents are going to enjoy this tub. So it does come with a certain level of work ethic and product quality that you have to be able to produce. So if you're not confident that you can produce that level of quality,
start small.
Yeah, start small and then leverage your way up. I was lucky enough to go with you, so I had support.
Yep.
And so now my confidence is there. Our company's confidence is there. And moving forward, you know, It's not an issue.
By the way, like, I met Trinidad once in real life, and I just sent his ass to Texas to do a project for me. So you know what? Well, he lives in Texas, but still, it's like a lot of the times you just need somebody, like you said, to give you that support, and you see how things are done, and you're like, okay, well, now I can kind of do it.
Yep.
Because you went in there and like you were telling me about the thing at that hotel, the Sheraton that you were talking about, and like you had mentioned to me that they wanted a quote and all this stuff, and it seems like you're in the door, man.
Yeah,
like,
I hope so. I'm confident about it. I don't want to say anything because the deal's not signed yet, but we are contracted to do a demo, which they're paying a good amount just for the demo.
Yeah.
So,
hey man, if they're willing to pay for a demo,
I think we're the only ones demoing anything. So I don't know if there's anyone else involved in this. And pretty much my logic is we're gonna fucking kill this demo.
The fact
and
that
they're not gonna want anyone else to do it.
The fact that they're investing in you without knowing the quality or what to expect tells me, as somebody who's done this shit for a long time and like has seen these negotiations, tells me that they have confidence already.
Yeah.
So you have the leverage now. You just gotta do what you do.
And that comes, and that goes full circle. When I found your podcast, all the shit we were talking, the advice you were giving me, I implemented that.
That's what you got to do.
When they reached out, I implemented the things you tell me. I listened to the things you tell me, and I took your advice. Me and Gilbert showed up in our fucking polos. We meant business. We came in there and talked, and what are your numbers? How fast do you need this shit? This is what you're gonna get.
You were talking their language.
Yeah, like this is what are we talking here? I'm not just here to waste your time, and you're not here to waste my time.
That is the biggest negotiation mistake with our industry is when they go in there and they say, well, I'm the best and I'll do the best job and I put the best things on paint and I know how to mix paint very well. And look at all me reviews. Like, they sound like dumb. You know, they sound like kids.
They don't want yes man. They want to know, like, for real, can you really handle this? Because if you contract, because I believe just the headboards alone is somewhere around 300 to 500 units, which, that's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot, and they want about 5 a day produced.
But that's doable.
It's definitely doable, and we've worked around some resources to make that happen. But they also want to see if you understand the volume that they're talking, because anyone can say yes, 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 yes. But when let's get into the logistics. I brought up transportation, how we're going to maneuver these units, when do you need them back? How are you going to pick them up? Are we going to deliver them? All these things that show that you're thinking beyond just paint.
And asking the right questions answers their fucking questions. That's what people don't understand. Like, it's not just about how much you want to spend. It's like, when you ask them, how fast do you need these turnaround and how are you going to pick, it lets them know that this isn't your fucking first time.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, you're asking the question, but that allows you to pull more information.
Open communication.
Exactly.
That's what they want. They don't want a yes man, and they definitely don't want someone who's too scared to ask anything.
Yep.
So.
You know what I used to do when I first started? This was funny. You might relate to it. I used to really overthink, like, what am I going to charge and the logistics and stuff. And I would never fucking ask the people like who were in the position, like, what's up? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And I used to I would negotiate myself down like an idiot. Like, well, maybe 300 is too expensive. Maybe 350. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, if it was me and like, if I had a budget that's not mine personally, it's some fucking faceless corporation's budget. Yeah. I'm not thinking about the money. Yeah. It's not mine.
Yeah. Yeah. And we get used to that because residential's so personal.
Yeah.
When you give that quote to Sharon, she's like, oh, $400, that hurts my bank account today.
Even then, it's not as big as a factor as you might think, man. Because I raised my prices overnight from $375 to $499, and I had people calling me, and like some of them will be like, whatever. Some of them like, well, that's not bad.
Yeah.
It also is like some things are a lot to people, some things aren't. But with the hotels, it's really just like when you overthink it, you're doing the wrong thing, honestly.
And another thing I took into consideration was this time I'm working with a GC. So the GC himself has a genuine interest in his relationship with the hotel.
Yep.
So he wants a solid contractor.
The general contractors they are overpaid by the hotel so that the hotel does not have to deal with any bullshit. Because
he's trying to make sure I ain't gonna fuck up his reputation. So he's gonna try to find the best contractor for the best buck. And it looks like that we're probably the most professional.
Yeah, make sure you have a contract.
Oh, yeah, we have an appointment on Friday with a lawyer to sit with us and generate a contract.
Yes, because I've worked with contractors before. Most of them are fantastic, but I worked with one from out of state once, and it was a pain in the ass to get paid.
Yeah.
So I have a contract, and look, there's only 2 ways to go about this, and I'm just telling you, you don't want issues later. If they're not willing to sign your contract, then you need a deposit, and you need to be invoicing them weekly, and they need to pay it weekly. And if they can't make that happen, because they're not going to hire you without a contract, you got to flip it right back on them.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you're not hiring me if I don't sign your paper, and the hotel's not hiring you without a sheet of paper. I need something in writing.
Yeah. And
just make it like that. Because the last thing you want is to be chasing down money after you do a fucking great job for them. But I don't think that's the case. I'm just saying, you got to be prepared,
you
man.
got to prepare yourself. Protect yourself, because it means, as much as it means nothing for them to spend that money, it means nothing for them not to pay you. You're just one fucking piece of this pie right now. Yep. And that he's like, so this is the big project for me, but for this GC, this is probably one component, bro.
Yeah.
It's one component, and he's like, look, just paint these and get them.
He's like,
back.
I'm spending $1 million on the lobby. I don't give a fuck what the headboards look like. I totally get that.
Hell yeah. But yeah, so that's what I got going on. Hoping that lands. And then just from the Puerto Rico project, I was able to escalate our technician Angel.
Yeah.
You know, just within since we got back. How long has it been since we've been back?
We got back like late. Was it mid-May, early May, May 14th, 15th?
So within a month and a half, he's went from not refinishing to practically being independent.
Well, explain where he was at skill-wise, right? Just explain it the best you can, because he was new.
Angel started working with us probably a week before we left for Puerto Rico.
Just really threw him in there, huh?
Yeah, and so when the Puerto Rico project came, I had hired Angel, and we were going to teach him, and then the project came, and I was like, you know what? At first, we weren't going to bring anybody else. It was going to be me, Tyler, and Gordo. But then I was like, you know what? This is gonna escalate Angel way quicker than anything I could do residential for him. So we decided to take him, and luckily we did, because he knocked out damn near every port.
Yeah, he started flying.
He pretty much knocked out all of the conversion, the actual deletes.
Yeah,
you know,
he was. I mean, there was times where he was doing 14 in a day.
Yeah,
towards the end,
and
he really knocked them out.
And you know, when he finished it, whatever his quota was for the day in the deletes, he was going back and etching.
Picking up the slack.
Yeah, picking up the slack or wherever it needed to be addressed, which...
Mind you, how old is he?
45, 46.
So if you want to do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Fucking lazy
Don't be a
people
pussy.
out there. Literally.
But he stepped up, and what it did for him was gave him, for 3 weeks, every day, he saw the same process. So, and we were completing 8 units a day, I think.
Yep.
Somewhere 6 to 8 units a day. So 6 to 8 units a day from start to finish. Jacuzzi conversions, which he was the first portion of that conversion, and then to watch it follow through, then he would help with me carrying the cart around and watching me spray, and he was very attentive to the technique that I was using. And within 3-4 weeks, the man came back, and I told him when we were over there, I said, when you get back from Puerto Rico, we're not fucking around anymore. I said,
he was ready, though.
And he is ready. He's out right now as we're talking by himself.
Yeah, that's why there's a cut you're going to notice, and it's because he called with a field question.
So he's out there.
And what has that been like? Has he been pretty, like, good of receiving criticisms and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. He's doing his thing. So
this is something that, like, it's not hard, but it's tedious to learn. Because there's so many things that can happen.
And it takes a level of want to learn. This isn't like you just come in, collect your check, you'll pick. No, you have to kind of want to figure out these things, understand compatibilities, actually produce a nice looking product.
Mm-hmm. I think it's good that you just threw him out there, like I told you. Because I was having the same issue with Ralph from the beginning, where like he was spraying the tub and it was never quite right. And a couple times he showed like the signs of like, all right, he could do it, he could do this. But it got to the point where like I was just like, you know what? The only way he's gonna learn is doing it. And I just sent him out there, threw him out there.
Yeah.
And he started doing it. And sometimes it would come out messed up, and I would just send a more experienced guy to go fix it. Because it would take the experienced guy no time to fix something. Like, as long as it got etched and there's primer, it's a 220 sand and a coat.
Yeah.
So that's how you got to look at it.
Yeah.
And that's nothing.
Yeah, and then once you do a couple, you realize that it's not that the process is not that hard. It's getting comfortable with your tools, and to a point where you can create a nice fine finish, and you're not skipping steps, so that the actual adhesion, the durability is there.
Yep.
Because me and everyone can, not everyone, but a good refinisher can make a tub look nice, but did they etch it? You won't know until it starts failing.
Yep.
Did they catch all the moisture, whatever? But he actually cares, so you can't teach that. I was able to escalate his knowledge quickly, but it was all on him whether he was actually going to
do it,
operate at that pace.
That's awesome.
And he did so.
And he seemed very ready to go. I think it also he proved to himself in that project.
Yeah.
That he could push himself.
And I did the same thing with Tyler. Tyler was already well versed with the guns, the spray guns. But since we got back from Puerto Rico, I just said you're just on your own now.
Yep.
And he did, and he didn't even skip a beat. I don't think he even had an issue adjusting from not spraying by himself to being a full blown technician.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So things are good.
And one of the most important underrated things. This is one of those things where if you have a free day and they don't have anything to do, you could tell them like, hey, go do this.
Yeah.
Have them learn the ins and outs of their spray guns and their equipment.
Yeah.
And how to troubleshoot common problems. So you don't get the call of like, I don't know why my gun is just keep shooting. Like.
Yeah. And what I've been doing is sending them two together.
Yep.
And so Tyler has, I guess, some sort of comfort knowing that Angel was there, and Angel had some sort of comfort knowing Tyler was there. And now I'm like, okay, now you guys need to go do your own thing. But they helped each other kind of escalate too.
Yeah, that's really good. We typically when we train somebody, we do send them like that.
Yeah.
We send like an experienced guy, and they kind of see the little things that they might be doing wrong.
Yep.
Or they show them little things where they can improve.
Yeah.
Even Ralph was like that in the beginning.
Yeah.
We sent him with a guy that we used to have named Gene.
Yeah.
I've told you stories about that guy.
Yeah.
But
Ralph didn't pick up his bad habits.
No, he look, the thing about Gene is Gene did not have bad habits on the job site. He had bad habits like personally. He was just like that.
Yeah.
But the actual work, he was a perfectionist.
Oh, okay.
So it sucks when you have somebody who's so fucking talented. Like Gene is a person that I could have never trusted. Like I sent Ralph after he actually learned, right? I got a little project for like 50 tubs in New Smyrna Beach. And I was like, Ralph, you take all the guys and you manage it.
Yeah.
And he went and did it. Like, and there was no hiccups, and he talked to the person. I'm like, now that you know, now that I'm paying you more, and now that I know I can trust you and I know you actually care, you can do that.
Yeah.
Like, and he was there. They were there for a week. They knocked them all out.
Yeah.
They did 10 at a time, and there was like 4 guys, but he was the guy. He was the leader.
Yeah.
And over there, they only know Ralph. They just know that I answered the phone. But that's cool for him to get those opportunities.
Yeah.
I could have never done that with Gene.
Gives them worth, self-worth.
And it's crazy because Gene was with us, with my parents started. He worked here for a total of like 10 years. Like, between my parents and then me and my brother.
Yeah.
When we were running it. And in all that time, I could have never trusted him to do that.
Yeah.
Ralph, and half the time,
Can't teach like professionalism.
No.
Or, stuff like that. That's just
Or
in
caring.
them or not. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Well, aside from that, is there anything else you want to talk about?
No,
Anything interesting?
that's about it going on with us, man.
You got to start on that epoxy stuff, man.
I know.
I've been posting them on Instagram, and people just keep asking about it. I'm going to get on that, man.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to get on it too, because like we were talking about, that's the new wave for the countertops.
yeah.
It's only a matter of time before more people learn.
Yeah. Well, they need to. I already said it. Like, if you're not learning or starting to, to think, that's where I got to move, when it happens and 4 or 5 companies in your area are already doing it, you're going to be left in the fucking dust.
Yeah.
Because that supersedes the whole refinishing thing. That's more well-known than bathtub refinishing.
And I mean, it only makes sense. You have no overspray. You don't have to worry so much about ventilation. It's pour on. It looks great.
Yeah.
It's easy to fix. I came over and I put my hand on
And I just heated it up.
and you fixed it. So that was cool.
All right. Well, let's end it here. So we
right.
did 2:30 minutes. I think that
good,
works
yeah.
better. Also, real quick, I'm gonna. We'll end it, and then I'll tell you what I need you to do for a second.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
You just listened to the official Bathtub Refinishing podcast. powered by BathTub Guys Refinishing. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Feel free to ask any questions or suggest topics for the next episode by following @BathTubGuys on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And thanks for listening.
He said the Bondo is coming.